Okay, imagine this. You step onto the ward at 6 p.m., you're the only foundation doctor, and your task list is it's a mile long. You've got routine bloods, 3 discharge summaries, a complex medication adjustment for a DKA.
The usual evening list.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. You've got a high-risk patient, NEWS2 score of 7, who needs an immediate review.
Right.
And then, just to top it all off, the nurse in charge pulls you aside and says staffing levels are dangerously low for the night shift.
Wow.
So you've got too much to do, the pressure is immense, and the stakes for patient safety couldn't be higher.
And that scenario, that intense high-stakes moment, that's the classic prioritization challenge. It's the absolute centerpiece of real-world medicine and, assessments like the SJT.
It is. And our mission today is to take a deep dive into that blueprint for clinical safety, time and resource management. We've got some really structured source material that gives a safe, GMC-aligned framework for handling exactly this kind of overwhelming workload. It's about turning that chaos into a clear, methodical plan.
And this is so crucial because it isn't really about being fast. It's about delivering safe care when the demand just inevitably exceeds your immediate capacity.
Right.
The central truth, and it runs through all the source material, is simple. Safety comes first. You have to prioritize clinically, you have to escalate your capacity problems early, delegate safely, and then document clear plans.
Okay, let's unpack that blueprint.
Yeah.
We want to arm you with the specific steps, the language, to ace these scenarios and, maybe more importantly, to keep your patients safe when that pressure really hits.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the big question. Why does the General Medical Council, and by extension the whole training pathway, care so much about your ability to juggle all these tasks? What's the overarching goal here?
It's all about avoiding preventable harm. The source material is really clear on this. Poor prioritization, delayed escalation, or, a weak handover.
Yeah.
These are the direct precursors to adverse patient outcomes.
So they're looking for specific behaviors to ensure you get that.
Exactly. When you're being tested on this, the examiners and your seniors in real life, they're looking for 3 non-negotiable behaviors.
Okay, let's hear them. What's on the scorecard for safe practice?
First and foremost is clinical first prioritization. You have to choose your tasks based on acuity and that time-critical risk.
Not just what came in first.
Never based on convenience or the order they arrived in your inbox.
Got it.
Clinical stability always trumps the to-do list order.
That immediately sounds like a trap, because it forces you to step back and think to assess the risk, rather than just, grabbing the easiest thing first.
It is a trap, and that leads to the second behavior, which is timely escalation and delegation.
So not trying to be a hero.
Not at all. It means recognizing the limits of your own capacity or even your competence, and then using your senior support and the wider team appropriately. The resources are there for a reason. You have to use them.
So the message is pretty clear then. Don't try to be the lone wolf who does everything.
No.
So what's the third crucial behavior?
It's what they call reliable continuity.
Care doesn't just stop when your shift ends. You have to ensure there's clear communication, robust documentation, especially in your handover.
Because if the next person coming on shift doesn't know about that high-risk patient.
Exactly. If they don't know the status or what tasks are still outstanding, you've just created immediate risk for them and for the patient.
So this requires a real mindset shift. It's that patient safety outranks finishing every single task yourself.
Yes.
You have to be willing to share the load, to signpost that risk early. It confirms that managing capacity isn't a solo marathon. It's a finely tuned team sport. And to manage that team effort safely, you need a roadmap, a reliable one.
Okay.
And the source material provides a fantastic, really high-yield memory aid. It's the mnemonic PEUD.
That's your framework for systematic safety.
All right, let's spend some time on PUD because this sounds like the core takeaway. So 5 steps. What does the P stand for, and what's the actual action? P is for prioritize. This is always your starting point. You triage every single task by clinical acuity and time sensitivity.
For example?
Well, the patient with new chest pain who needs an immediate ECG and troponin, they win over ordering routine morning bloods for a stable, long-term patient. Every time.
Sure, reducing the immediate risk.
That's the goal.
Okay, so once we know what to deal with first, that high acuity patient, the next challenge is just organizing the sheer volume of work. Which brings us to A.
A is for allocate time. And this sounds simple, but you use a visible list, physical or digital, to keep your workflow transparent and manageable.
It stops you from getting overwhelmed.
Totally. And it ensures you dedicate proper blocks of time for the really critical tasks, like a complex discharge meeting or, going back to review that critical patient.
And then we hit the letter U, which I think for a lot of people feels like the hardest thing to do in practice.
It can be. U stands for urgent escalate. You have to get help early.
From seniors, from other teams?
Yes, to unblock risk and delays. If you realize your list has tasks that will take you past safe working hours, or if that high-risk patient is deteriorating beyond your comfort level, you escalate.
So it's about recognizing the limit.
The moment demand exceeds safe capacity or your competence, you call for cover. You don't delay, hoping it'll just sort itself out.
It won't. So once you've escalated and hopefully brought in more resources, the next logical move is to share out the workload. How does D for delegation fit in?
So delegate safely. This is where we use structured communication, something like SBIR, to assign the right tasks to competent colleagues.
Right.
Delegation is how you manage the volume, but, and this is crucial, the sources really emphasize that the task has to be within that colleague's recognized competence.
That's the safety part.
That's the safety part.
And finally, E, the safety net that stops errors in transition.
E is for enter notes and handover. You document your plans, you record your handover, you log timings as you go, contemporaneously.
To protect continuity.
Absolutely. If you've escalated that high-risk patient to the registrar, you have to document that you called them, when you called them, and what the plan was. It's your professional duty.
This structure is really clear, but it does force us back to that classic gray area. How do you prioritize when, everything feels urgent?
That's when you rely on the hierarchy of triage. Acuity beats arrival order every single time.
So a clear rule.
A non-negotiable rule. When everything seems urgent, you go back to basics. Airway, breathing, circulation. Then you look for the big hitters: sepsis, major hemorrhage, acute chest pain, a new neurodeficit.
But let me throw a common dilemma at you. What if you have a patient with, say, stable DKA, which is clinically urgent, but the patient with the new WS2 of 7 is someone who's known on the ward for anxiety-related hyperventilation, a frequent flyer who usually settles down?
Right.
Does the objective score still win?
100% yes. You have to trust the immediate objective data first.
Even over the history?
Even over the history in that first instance. That new WS2 score of 7 represents an unseen deteriorating patient risk. You address the immediate life threat first.
So you review the new WS27 patient?
Yes. Only once they're assessed, safety nets are in place, and a senior review is pending, only then do you move on to the clinically stable, though still urgent, DKA adjustment. Instability always wins.
This is where identifying those red flags becomes so important, the things that mean you have to drop everything and act immediately.
Yeah.
What are the critical triggers the sources define?
The sources flag 4 major ones that demand immediate action, especially that use a PID for urgent escalation. The first is an unseen deteriorating patient.
Our new WS27 patient.
Exactly. The risk of rapid, unexpected harm is just too great to delay. If you delay that, you risk patient death.
Okay, what's the second one?
A backlog that's delaying time-critical meds or tests. Think about missing that golden hour for IV antibiotics and sepsis.
Or delaying blood and a hemorrhage.
Precisely. Those delays just exponentially increase morbidity.
And the other two, they relate more to system failures and personal limits, right? Which are often the real pressure points.
Correct. The third red flag is being asked to do tasks that are beyond your competence with no supervision.
That's a huge one.
It's an immediate ethical and legal risk. You have to refuse the task and immediately escalate that capacity gap to your senior.
And the fourth?
A system or resource failure that's blocking the basics. So the oxygen supply fails, or there's such severe understaffing that basic observations can't even be done. You escalate that system failure to management immediately.
So you have to protect the patient first, escalate those risks, create capacity before you go back to routine work, like ordering bloods or doing TTOs.
That clarity is what keeps practice safe, and it leads us directly into the traps.
Yes, the decoys.
The SJT and real-life pressure are designed to catch you out. They offer options that feel efficient or responsible, but actually undermine safety.
Let's talk about the biggest scoring traps. What's the trap related to the order of tasks?
The number one trap is choosing to do tasks strictly in arrival order. It fails because it completely ignores that P for prioritization. It's unsafe triage, and you'll lose marks for failing to spot the immediate clinical risk.
And what about that trap linked to? Well, that desire to prove you can handle it all.
The hero complex. That leads to the very tempting trap of Refuse to escalate, keep trying yourself.
I can see why that's tempting.
It fails because it risks critical patient deterioration while you're struggling alone. The sources are so clear. A core duty is recognizing your limits and seeking support. Refusing to escalate is just professionally irresponsible when a patient's safety is on the line.
And we mentioned delegation is critical, but there's a dangerous way to do it.
Yes. The trap is to delegate anything to whoever's free. It just breaches every standard of safe delegation. Competence is mandatory. You can't delegate a complex task to a junior colleague just because they happen to be sitting down.
You have to check competence, ensure clear communication.
Always. And the final one, the time saver trap, is to skip documentation to save time.
Which feels efficient in the moment.
But it breaks continuity, it risks omissions, and it's a breach of your fundamental duty. The golden rule, even when you're exhausted, is fixed. Triage, escalate, delegate, then document. Every single time.
Let's drill down into delegation specifically, because that's where things can so often get dropped or misunderstood. The framework for it is really structured for a reason.
It has to be. Delegation must be quick, but it absolutely must be safe and clear. The sources strongly advocate using the SBR structure to frame your request.
SBR, situation, background, assessment, recommendation.
It just eliminates ambiguity. You state the situation, give the necessary background, relay your assessment of the patient, and clearly provide your recommendation or your request.
So SBR gives you the clarity. But what safety checks do you need to make after you've used it?
You need to confirm the colleague understands the plan, that they know the time frames, and most importantly, you confirm they are competent to do it safely.
So if you're delegating meds,
you have to be confident they are certified to do so. And if a task is beyond your own personal competence, safety overrides responsibility. You seek supervision, or you decline and escalate the request to the right senior person. Immediately.
What about that critical question? Is it okay to finish your shift and leave on time with tasks still outstanding? The pressure to clear the list can be huge.
It is professionally acceptable, and honestly, it's often necessary. But only if you hand over clearly and ensure continuity.
So the handover is the key.
The handover is everything. Your duty is to ensure the care plan is maintained. If you've clearly documented the outstanding tasks, who they were escalated to, and ensured a robust, informed handover to the oncoming team, you have fulfilled your professional duty.
Staying late without an effective handover just delays the problem.
And it risks fatigue-related errors.
The sources gave some really powerful, actionable model phrases for this. Language that actively signals your competence and that you're adhering to these standards.
Yes. For managing expectations, you can use language that shows your clinical rationale. Something like, I'm prioritizing unstable or time-critical patients first, specifically the new WS27. I'll update you on expected timings for routine tasks later this hour.
And for escalation, when you're maxed out, you need definitive action language, not hesitant questions.
Precisely. You could try this. This current workload exceeds my safe capacity. I'm activating the system now. I'm calling the medical registrar for immediate review of the high-risk patient, and I'm informing the nurse in charge to allocate immediate cover for the time-critical DKA adjustment.
That model shows you're not just complaining. You're applying the PAUDE framework in real time. You're activating the safety mechanism.
And finally, confirming that safe delegation and handover. I've delegated the routine bloods using SBR to the HCA, and I'll document the handover plan for outstanding TTOs before I leave at 20:00. It confirms the task is managed, safely assigned, and recorded for the next team.
So what does this all mean for you when you're under that pressure? Let's just synthesize the essential nuggets of knowledge you need to carry forward.
Okay, 3 bullets that really sum up the core principle. First, acuity beats arrival order every time. Always triage by clinical risk first, and trust that objective data.
Second,
escalate risk and capacity problems early. Use those red flags we talked about as your trigger. Don't wait until the patient is crashing or the backlog is completely out of control.
And third, closing the loop.
Delegate with incompetence, use SBR for crystal clear communication, and document your plans and handover thoroughly before you leave your shift. Continuity is the absolute foundation of patient safety.
So let's quickly revisit that opening scenario. F2 at 6 p.m., a dozen tasks, a new WS27 patient, a DKA adjustment, low staffing. The correct action requires a rapid application of PAUDE.
Absolutely. You must prioritize the new WS27 patient immediately. That's your P.
Right.
Then you urgently escalate to the medical registrar, that's you, because the new WS27 and the staffing shortage exceed your capacity.
Then you share the load.
You delegate routine tasks like the TTOs and simple bloods using SBAR, That's D, to a competent colleague. And finally, you immediately document the plan and confirm a clear handover strategy. That's E.
It combines all the required safety steps.
The whole framework in action.
You know, mastering capacity isn't just about passing a test. It's the foundation of resilience and safety in medicine. The GMC guidance confirms that managing resources effectively and sustainably is a duty.
It is.
The ultimate takeaway is this. When you are overwhelmed, you stop, you apply your framework, and you call for help. The systems are there to support the safety of the patient. It's your professional duty to activate them.